The story of the Spanish Empire begins not on distant seas, but on the Iberian Peninsula, a land shaped by war, faith, and dreams of glory. For nearly 800 years, Spain was divided under Christian and Muslim rule. Then came the moment that would change its destiny forever, the Reconquista. In 1492, the forces of King Ferdinand of Aragon and Queen Isabella of Castile captured Granada, the last Muslim stronghold in Spain. The victory united the kingdoms under one crown and one faith, and for the first time, Spain stood as a single, powerful nation. That same year, Isabella supported a daring sailor named Christopher Columbus, whose voyage across the Atlantic would open the door to a new world and a new empire. When Columbus landed in the Americas, he unknowingly began one of history's most transformative eras. Spain's explorers, the Conquistadors, set sail in search of gold, glory, and God. Among them were men like Hernán Cortés, who conquered the vast Aztec Empire in 1521, and Francisco Pizarro, who overthrew the mighty Inca Empire in Peru. The treasures of these new lands, silver from the mines of Potosi, gold from the Caribbean, and exotic goods from across the seas, flowed back to Spain. Seville's ports became gateways to the world, where ships laden with riches arrived from across the Atlantic. Spain's flag now flew over an empire so vast that people said, "The sun never sets on the Spanish Empire." But this empire was more than conquest. Missionaries built churches and schools, blending European and indigenous cultures. Spanish art, language, and architecture left their mark from Mexico to the Philippines. Yet behind this grandeur lay deep suffering, the loss of native lives, forced labor, and the dark legacy of the slave trade that connected Europe, Africa, and the Americas. By the 16th century, Spain stood at the height of its power under King Charles I, also known as Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor. His empire stretched from Europe to the Americas, a realm so large it was said to span 2 worlds. He dreamed of uniting Christendom under one rule, a mission both noble and impossible. After Charles came his son, Philip II, who ruled from the Grand Palace of El Escorial near Madrid. Under Philip, Spain reached its cultural zenith. The empire's wealth funded magnificent cathedrals, art by masters like El Greco and Velázquez, and the first global trade routes linking Europe to Asia via the Americas. The galleons that sailed between Manila and Acapulco carried silver, silk, and spices, proof that Spain now ruled an empire of the seas. But this golden age also brought great challenges. Wars against the Ottoman Turks, the Dutch rebels, and Protestant England drained Spain's coffers. In 1588, the proud Spanish Armada, the greatest fleet ever assembled, sailed against England, but fierce storms and English firepower turned triumph into disaster. The defeat marked the first crack in Spain's shining empire. In the following centuries, Spain's power ebbed and flowed. The empire's vast wealth fueled European politics, but constant wars, corruption, and over-reliance on American silver weakened its strength. The Habsburg dynasty, with their sprawling European interests, left Spain struggling to manage both domestic stability and its overseas territories. Still, Spanish influence continued to shape the world. Magnificent cities like Lima, Mexico City, and Havana grew into centers of art, learning, and trade. Cathedrals rose where temples once stood, and new universities taught generations of scholars. Even as the empire faced revolts and rivalries, Spanish culture spread. Its language, its music, and its spirit becoming part of nations across continents. By the 18th century, under the new Bourbon dynasty, Spain tried to reform and modernize its empire. Trade was reorganized, colonies gained more autonomy, and scientific expeditions explored unknown territories. Yet the winds of change were unstoppable. Across the Americas, new ideas of liberty and independence began to take root. When Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Spain in the early 19th century, chaos consumed the kingdom. Colonial leaders, once loyal to Madrid, now sought freedom. One by one, nations like Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and Chile broke away. By the mid-1800s, Spain had lost most of its vast empire. Only a few distant territories, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, remained under its rule until they too gained independence after the Spanish-American War of 1898. The fall of the Spanish Empire marked the end of one of history's most extraordinary chapters. But its influence never truly vanished. Spanish remains one of the world's most spoken languages. The architecture, religion, and traditions of Latin America still carry echoes of Spain's past.